Hello, hello. Welcome back to the inner monologue. This is RV here coming at you straight from graduation. Uh, yes, the senior class of 2026 has just graduated from high school. And I can't say that this is going to be a group of kids that I've missed. I've been teaching at this particular school for 5 years, so this bunch of students I didn't get the chance to get to know from freshman year until now. Got to see them grow through failed assignments and failed relationships and failed fashion choices. And today they walk that stage and they're moving on in life, hopefully safely, hopefully successfully. But I wish them all the best. I'm here on day 2 of this challenge for me to make a video for the next 75 days, part of 75 Hard, my version that I am doing with my sister because I love my sister and I don't want her to do hard things alone. So, 75 Hard, here we are. Part of my challenge is to create a video every day because I am not consistent on YouTube. I am aware of that. I'm also aware that I don't really like making videos and talking in front of a camera makes me nervous. So, best way to get through that is exposure therapy. So here I am, showing up every day for 75 days. Let's do this. Yesterday I talked about why I write and told you the story of how I got into writing, despite me not being a very good speller or reader, at least when it comes to reading out loud, but how I ended up getting into this. And today, the question that I have is, when did I first realize I wanted to be an author? So, I can't really say that this was something that I always wanted to do since I was like a little girl because that's so not true. Um, Writing, even when I started doing it, has always just been kind of a side thing, a means to an end, really. What I really wanted to do would be in the film industry when I was in middle school. That kind of shifted in high school, but I just enjoyed doing it. Writing is something that helped me in a lot of ways and still helps me in a lot of ways to hold on to my sanity for the most part. Um, when people ask me, like, oh, why do you write? I oftentimes say, what else am I supposed to do with all these voices in my head? Because I will go crazy if I go too long without a pencil and a notebook, or now a computer. That's just that at this point. But when did I first know that I wanted to be an author? It was after, well, I suppose during my senior year when I started to create my first original story that wasn't based off of a fan fiction. The story being One Mind, a book that is so not ready to be released yet, but will be released one day. This was a story that came from just me creating some characters that I fell in love with and that felt so full and fleshed out and alive that I felt like they needed their own story, and that story needed to be told. See, when I was in middle school, if you didn't watch yesterday's video, then go watch yesterday's video. What's stopping you? Anyways, when I was in middle school, I wrote Twilight fan fiction, and I had these two original characters in there named DJ and Diana. They were twins. But fast forward into high school, Twilight fan fiction, long behind. I was still thinking about DJ and Diana. Not that story that I had put them in, but just those characters and their background, and not their background, but just those characters. And I wanted them to have a story of their own. So that's when I started creating my own original story. I went through a couple of notebooks outlining the first book and then got to writing. I wrote the first book throughout high school, throughout my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. And then, because college is college, the second and third book got written. Well, the second book got written throughout my college career, and the third book got written between my senior year of college and immediately after I was done my senior year of college. I kind of just like sped through the last little bits of it because I was no longer in college and I had things like, time. Whew, school sucks it out of you. Anyways, but yeah, so I had this One Mind trilogy. And I had these characters that I really just wanted their story to be out there because I really thought that people would be able to connect with them and learn from them and learn with them. And I knew I wanted to publish this. So after I cleaned it up a few times and put it through a couple of drafts, I started to look into what it took to be an author, thus entering the query trenches that I never got out of. I am still in the query trenches, but eventually I pulled that book. I stopped querying it. I decided that it needed more work, and I worked on other projects. One of those projects being A Little Broken, which is actually a spin-off of the One Mind trilogy. The two main characters in the One Mind trilogy, DJ and Diana, they're adopted, and their parents are pretty awesome. And A Little Broken is the story of how their parents met and got together. So the parents who adopted them, this is their story. So I did go through and publish the spinoff before I published the original trilogy because, honestly speaking, the spinoff, A Little Broken, it stands on its own. You don't need these extra factors in there. It just it's gonna feel more like an Easter egg once I get the One Mind trilogy out. You're gonna be like, oh, I know those guys. Somebody will be like, oh, I know those guys. I've got at least two people that's like total fans of mine that will read anything that I write. So they'll be able to make the connection. Everyone else, I don't know. Y'all probably not going to read everything that I write. But for those who do, you'll know. But when I created One Mind, I knew that I wanted to be an author. I knew I wanted to publish these books. But that was something that I was willing to put on hold until I wrote Blue Lights in 20 days. When I say that, I can't even consider Blue Lights to be a passion project, because I feel like passion projects take so much time, right? Like it's something that you dream of doing, and then like you finally do it, and then like you're doing it, and then like at some point it's done. Blue Lights, whew, Blue Lights was a spell cast on me. Like the idea came, the idea went. Then at 4 in the morning, the idea came back and it never left. It never went anywhere. I couldn't even sleep. I had to get up out of bed at 5 in the morning and start writing this thing down. And then once I started, I couldn't stop. It's like it's like something was telling me that this story needed to be told and it needed to be told now. And I literally couldn't rest until it was done. And I need my rest, so it got done. So in 20 days I wrote Blue Lights, and I sent it to my cousin cuz I'm sitting here like 20 days. I wrote a whole novel. This got to be trash. It has to be terrible. So I sent it to my cousin, an avid reader and the most honest person that I know. If the book is trash, even if I wrote it, he's going to tell me that it is trash. And he loved it. And he is notorious for like 3-star, 4-star reviews. He loved it. He gave me a couple of notes on things that could be tweaked. He wanted to see like more of a particular character, which I definitely agreed with. And so I made those tweaks, and I threw Blue Lights into the query trenches as well. And I pushed it hard. Like, really hard. Like, because I did believe that Blue Lights was something special. It had to be. The way that I wrote it, like, the way that I was possessed into writing this book, it had to be something special. So I pushed it hard. I sent it to over 100 agents. And for the first time, I was getting back requests for full manuscripts. I was getting maybes. I was getting hope. And it was still no. Indian. Not because of the book being bad or unenjoyable. It was just unmarketable. They said, I don't know how to sell this because trying to sell a book with two black gay male characters is going to be too difficult. When we have the very successful They Both Die in the End series. Like, whatever. Anyways, I was saying words. I wasn't really willing to put Blue Lights on the back burner. Like, but I also wasn't really trying to get into self-publishing. So I was still trying to make some tweaks. Maybe it was some things that I could do to the first 10 pages, aka the first chapter, because the first chapter is 10 pages, to make things better, more appealing, to draw people in more. I don't know, because how do I fix the markability without changing my characters, which I wasn't going to do? But I didn't give up on it. I was still working on it, still fixing things, and I like to go through Amazon KDP and print off copies of the book that I can like look at and edit, because it helps me to edit if I can like physically hold it and like look at it. I usually print off my first draft and then like make handwritten notes. So I had did that. And in my classroom, I have students read for 20 minutes every Friday. I have students pretend to read for 20 minutes every Friday. I really try to get them to read. Is an honor when I get a book paired with a student that actually enjoys it. But I was struggling with one boy who never enjoyed anything, and every week he was trying new things, and he never sat still, never got into anything. So I handed him my like proof copy of Blue Lights and was just like, hey, try this. And this is a young black boy, teenager, 14, 15 years old, 15 years old at the time. Repels books, never really reads, pretends to read every single week. He started reading it and he got locked in. Like the 20-minute timer went off, meaning the students could stop reading, and he kept reading. And the next week he asked for the book again, and he asked for the book again, and he kept on reading. And at one point, his cousin, who was also my student, but in a different class area, his cousin had came into the room, and his cousin was like looking at him and watching him read. And his cousin said, "I didn't know you could read." And that was when I was like, "Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I gotta publish this," because I got a student who is known for repelling books to be locked into a book, and not only be locked into a book, but to promote said book. Because what he did when his cousin looked at him and questioned him reading a book, what he did was close the book, handed it to his cousin, and said, "It's actually really good. You should read it too." I knew I had something. I knew I knew I had something. I was working with something here. And people seen it. People knew it, but it's all about the money. All about the Benjamins, baby. But that was when I knew that I had to be an author. And I had to do it now. Because there were people who wanted these stories, who needed these stories. And they didn't have access to it because I was withholding it myself. So I went on and self-published. So I knew I wanted to be an author when I was in my last year of high school, when I started creating my original stories. I knew I had to be an author when I seen firsthand what my words can do for other people. Yeah, that seems like a good note to leave off on. I'm going to end this video here. I'm RV Allister, author of Blue Lights / A Little Broken. That's a sequel. No, author of Blue Lights / Black Lights. Black Lights is a sequel to Blue Lights. And author of the book A Little Broken, who is constantly writing. So, more books are to come. Spotlight's coming to you soon. Third book for Blue Lights. And there's also other, like a short story and a novella for Blue Lights as well. If you ever want to check out my writing, I recommend it. It's a good time. I think so, at least. I don't know. I don't know if you actually take my word for it. I'm the one that wrote it. But catch you tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow we'll get more into how I wrote a book in 20 days. And I will tell you all about that possessive fever dream. Catch you tomorrow.